Suguru effortlessly ensnares Koken, a member of Q, with a unique curse that induces a desire for a kiss. In a desperate plea for release, Koken vows to abandon his cursed ways and embrace a peaceful life of rice farming in the countryside. However, Suguru dismisses his pleas, frustrating Koken further. Koken attempts to intimidate Suguru by mentioning Bayer, Q's most formidable soldier, who would seek revenge on their behalf. To Koken's surprise, Suguru reveals a picture on his phone, displaying Bayer's defeat at the hands of Satoru. With their strongest soldier vanquished, Q dissolves as an organization. Meanwhile, Shukong, a member of the Star religious group, discovers Toji Fushiguro engaging in horse race betting. It appears that Toji used the substantial advance of 30 million yen to undermine the Gojo family's heir and the sorcerers aligned with him. As the representative prepares to report back to their client, skepticism lingers regarding Toji's true intentions. The assassin confidently expects a good return on his money, but unfortunately, he loses the bet on the horse race. The representative reminds the sorcerer killer that he is relying on him and asks about Megumi's well-being, but Toji can't recall who that is. Meanwhile, Riko wakes up in Satoru's arms and mistakenly attacks him, mistaking him for her assailant. Misato Kurowa, her caregiver, arrives and they clarify the situation. Riko then discusses her connection to Master Tenjin, but the boys pay no attention. Realizing she is late for school, Riko is taken back to Ranchoku Girls Junior High instead of Tokyo Jujutsu High, as instructed by Master Tenjin. Their mission is to ensure she enjoys herself, which Kurowa appreciates. Suguru checks his surveillance curses and realizes that 2 of them are missing. They quickly set out to find Riko, while 2 curse users sneak onto the campus. Toji, meanwhile, chats with Shukong on the phone while enjoying dumplings. He learns that the sorcerers guarding the Star Plasma Vessel have not returned to Jujutsu High. This works in favor of the Time Vessel Association, as more than just crazy individuals will go after the bounty. The representative reminds Toji that the 30 million he received was just a service fee, and if someone else kills the Star Plasma Vessel, he may end up with nothing. Toji, confident in the abilities of the Gojo boy, is not concerned. He knows that anyone who dares to come after them will be taken care of. Satoru Gojo possesses a rare combination of the 6 eyes and limitless curse techniques, a feat not seen in the Gojo family for 100 years. Toji acknowledges that facing the Star Plasma Vessel with Satoru's presence would be challenging. To wear down Gojo's group, Toji plans to utilize curse users during the remaining 39 hours of the mission, taking advantage of their free labor, as no one can claim the bounty. The representative realizes that this works in their favor, as it aligns with the 2-day time limit and facilitates the gathering of curse users. Toji mentions that things are progressing faster than he anticipated and hints at his imminent departure. He instructs the representative to have the 30 million ready, but the man brings up the topic of their respective shares, which fails to capture Toji's interest. At Ranchoku Girls Junior High, Satoru, Suguru, and Kurowa set out to locate Riko. Riko can be found either in the music room or the chapel attending her music class. Suguru decides to confront the intruders directly, while Satoru and Kurowa split up to search for Riko. Satoru is frustrated because he wanted to stay close to her, but Kurowa apologizes, explaining that Riko preferred not to be seen with boys in a girls-only school. Suguru continues on his own, wondering about the identity of these curse users. With Q out of the picture, the hired muscle from the Time Vessel Association could pose a threat. Suguru turns a corner and encounters an elderly man who quickly summons protective Shikigami. The curse user recognizes Suguru's uniform and assumes there are multiple opponents. Suguru notices this and realizes that his adversary is knowledgeable about his abilities. Both opponents analyze each other, recognizing the unique nature of their cursed techniques. The elderly man engages in conversation with Suguru while scheming to get close to him. Suguru dismisses his plotting and summons a massive worm-like curse to fill the hallway. Thinking he has won, Suguru is caught off guard as the curse user emerges from the window behind him, taking advantage of the blind spot. They engage in close combat, and the curse user believes he has the upper hand. Memories of his past life flash before the curse user's eyes, particularly his beloved dog. Suguru dominates the fight, unleashing a relentless barrage of rapid strikes. He remarks that fighters who have only one path to victory are easily manipulated. He questions the curse user's affiliation with Q or the Time Vessel Association. Meanwhile, Satoru and Kurwa continue their journey towards Riko, who is currently in the chapel. Nearby, the other curse user with a paper bag over his head anticipates a meal soaked in blood, craving eel for the night. Satoru bursts into the chapel, calling out for Riko and surprising everyone inside, including Riko herself, who feels embarrassed. The young girls are captivated by Satoru's charm and start bombarding Riko with questions. Satoru, brimming with confidence, even removes his sunglasses, further irritating Riko. The teacher intervenes to calm the girls and scolds Satoru briefly before discreetly sharing her contact information. Amidst the ongoing argument, Satoru grabs Riko's hand and swiftly escorts her out of the chapel. Riko expresses annoyance at his disregard for her requests, but Satoru explains that the school is under attack by curse users. Satoru suggests heading straight to Jujutsu High, but as they run across a rooftop, they are spotted by a curse user. The man doesn't recognize the curse user, but he notices something familiar about the girl. Misato Kurwa approaches the curse user from behind and asks which organization he belongs to, the Time Vessel Association or Q. They engage in a brief fight, and Kurwa incapacitates him with a low blow. Suguru Geto arrives and expresses surprise at Kurwa's strength. Through their conversation, the curse user confirms that the girl he saw is indeed the target of a 30 million yen bounty. Suddenly, he transforms into a puddle of mud, leaving Kurwa to wonder if it was a Shikigami. Suguru contacts Satoru and informs him about the bounty on Riko's head, which is posted on a dark website for curse users. Satoru understands the situation and ends the call, realizing that both he and Riko are surrounded by 4 identical curse users. Riko believes the clones are Shikigami, but Satoru suggests they might be Jujutsu sorcerers. The curse user disagrees, creating a 5th clone and claiming the risks of being a sorcerer outweigh the benefits. Satoru swiftly uses curse technique Lapse, Blue to defeat 2 clones. Riko realizes the clones haven't disappeared and Satoru clarifies that they are actual duplicates created by the caster. Although 2 clones approach Satoru, they cannot overcome his limitless power, making them easy targets. With the help of his 6 eyes, Satoru predicts his opponent's curse technique and reveals his own magnetic force ability, pulling the curse user closer. However, Satoru's attempt to use curse technique reversal fails, and he resorts to knocking out the curse user with a punch. Riko receives a text message containing a photo of Kurwa captured by the enemy, leaving her bewildered. A state of emergency arises in the United States following an explosion caused by counterfeit currency, reminiscent of the aerial terrorism at the Sky Casino. As the distressing news unfolds, Kanikata, currently hospitalized, receives a visit from Jono. Jono persistently questions the agency's involvement in these acts of terrorism and attempts to recruit Kanikata into the hunting dogs, promising him freedom in return for his talent. However, Kanikata vehemently declines, understanding that accepting such an offer without a recovery operation would result in losing his ability. With both his hands amputated, he cannot write in his notebook anymore. As their plan fails, Lucy seeks input from her teammates on the next course of action. Atsushi contemplates how they could overcome this emergency if only the agency were united. Suddenly, he hears Dazai's encouraging words from behind, though upon turning around, he finds no one there. Nonetheless, Atsushi finds renewed determination and convinces his teammates that there might be another solution to their predicament. However, he unexpectedly faints before finishing his thought. Jono departs, leaving Kanikata to contemplate his offer, and shares the news of Yasano's impending execution. As a final blow, Jono throws Kanikata's torn notebook, highlighting the futility of his ideals. Overwhelmed by remorse, Kanikida screams, unaware that a sniper has him in their sights. Meanwhile, Sigma regains consciousness with Gogo by his side. Gogo confesses to using his power to save Sigma and prevent his fatal injury. Curious, Sigma questions why Gogo is still alive despite appearing to die earlier in the hostage situation, leading to a revelation about Gogo's deceptive tactics. Gogo reveals how he created an illusion with his ability to survive, but Sigma asks him why he faked his death, as opposed to the original plan that required him to be genuinely dead. Gogo reveals his true intention of wanting to die in order to prove the existence of free will. However, upon realizing that he was understood by Dostoevsky, his only true friend, Gogo decides to kill him to achieve true freedom from emotions. He asks Sigma to use his ability to read Dostoevsky's ability for this purpose. Meanwhile, Lucy and Kyoka express concern for Atsushi, who has yet to wake up. Ango suspects that Atsushi has been affected by Pushkin's virus ability, and speculates that his life is being held hostage along with the lives of others due to the rules of cannibalism. In a moment of desperation, Ango considers shooting Kyoka and Lucy, but hides his gun when Atsushi finally wakes up. Atsushi shares with Ango that he has obtained the location of the page through Sigma's ability. He reveals that the page is in the possession of Kamui, the leader of the Decay of the Angel and the mastermind behind the terrorism. Meanwhile, Kanikida notices a sniper in the distance, and is trapped in his room with his feet chained to the bed. A person wearing a gas mask, claiming to be Kamui, releases a gas that knocks Kanikida unconscious. The team discusses their plan to find and confront Kamui. Suddenly, Atsushi senses a strong intention to kill from Kamui and urges everyone to leave immediately, as Kamui is currently carrying out an assassination operation against the members of the agency. Yasano is being transported in a vehicle to her execution site. Suddenly, there's an explosion up ahead, causing the military police to investigate the area. To their horror, they discover that the vehicle carrying Yasano has vanished from the road. In another location, Katai is under heavy guard in his apartment due to his connection to the agency suspects. Frustrated and wanting his cell phone, he discovers a phone in his room. When he accesses it, something shocking happens, causing him to scream. The guards rush into his room only to find that Katai has mysteriously disappeared. Meanwhile, Kamui and their companion pay a visit to Fukuzawa in his cell. They cover his head with a hood and lead him out. Later, as the hood is removed, Fukuzawa finds himself on a rooftop with the other two. Fearful that they plan to silence him by throwing him off the roof, Fukuzawa bravely informs Kamui that he knows their true identities. Dazai and Dostoevsky pass the time by guessing numbers, which worries Dostoevsky about Dazai's seemingly carefree attitude towards their fellow agency members. Dazai assures him that there's no need for him to do anything except keep an eye on him, while Ranpo, the strongest member of the agency, can handle things. On the rooftop, Ranpo reveals himself to Fukuzawa as the person in the gas mask. He informs Fukuzawa that he has successfully saved Kanikida, Yasano, and Katai from the assassination plots. Despite Fukuzawa's concern about Ranpo being shot during the hostage incident, Ranpo assures him that it was just a ruse to deceive the police. He explains how he saved Kanikida, Katai, and Yasano, with Po acting as his assistant. In an assembly hall filled with journalists, Ranpo suddenly appears, causing chaos and commotion. A female reporter questions the agency's involvement in the terrorism, and Ranpo responds by showing them a video of the hostage incident, revealing the circumstances that led to them being labeled as terrorists. He then presents an envelope containing documents that prove the agency's innocence, which he claims have been sent to every police organization. When asked why he didn't provide the documents earlier, Ranpo explains that the police wouldn't have believed in their innocence, as stated in the documents. He deduces that the papers would have been discarded anyway. The military police soon arrives and corners Ranpo. Before being arrested, he delivers a final statement to the police, urging them to think using their souls. Inspired by Ranpo's words, Minura, a seasoned detective, leaves his office. He reflects on the countless cases he has solved in the past 12 years and the help he has provided to the officers currently surrounding him in the assembly hall. He challenges them to consider how he could have made such a simple mistake and gotten caught if he were truly a great detective guilty of terrorism.